Welcome everyone to the 262nd, no, third. Yes, 263rd weekly MLP Drawing School live critique stream. It's March 9th and there's like what, four-fifths of you going, this is an hour early. Yeah, no, it's because time has changed. Time has
Damn
reverted
time.
itself. We don't agree with
As the
it.
Australian, it is an hour early though. You've screwed it up,
Us
America.
people who aren't in the USA,
I mean, it's
like
still an hour earlier for me, but I'm not complaining.
Yeah.
Can you just keep it an hour early?
yeah, it'd be good.
I
Except
mean,
then we're gonna have daylight savings, and then it'll be an hour later again.
Yeah.
Confusing.
Ooh, daylight savings.
So as you can hear, we have just an entire gaggle of people today. I think that's the right
Wahaha.
term for you guys.
Gaggle.
Or murder.
Just
like
murder
crows.
people.
And anxiety of artists.
Yeah.
Ah! That was a sound artist make.
A panic of artists.
So starting as the person who had their name lit up last, we got Fluffy's Eye.
Hi, I think TBC screamed after I spoke, but whatever.
Following directly after them, we got a cute pencil case.
Hi, I'm very stressed. But at least I'm awake.
Can I get a refund, please?
I think I saw Alley Claw after that.
Oh, hi. I thought of another fun one. What about Panic at the Blank Canvas?
Ooh.
Oh, that's nice.
Sounds like the next Panic at the Disco album.
Yeah,
Exactly. Zom got it.
And then there's Alen joining us.
Yes. Hello.
And down, who makes the least amount of noise, Pixino.
Hello, I'm from Australia. What up?
That's his
What up,
defining.
indeed?
I moved too much to know where I am from at this point.
So that is our gaggle of artists today.
York.
Murder of crows, whatever we're going to be today. As always, if you have any questions, please send them to us. If you have any art you'd like to be critiqued, please fire that at us now. We do have an order of how we do this, and it's whoever is actively here, they are totally first. And guess what? One of our very own has submitted art this week. Pixie up. So Pixie.
Oh no.
The question we always have. You got any questions in particular on this one?
I think with this piece, I've mostly tried to like mess around with texture and digital brushwork and trying to make it look interesting in that way, which I'm fairly happy with. But at the same time, I'm also not that happy with the difference in detail, I think, between the face and sort of the rest of the image. It kind of draws the eye to the face, but like way too much. And so I'm just curious about if you all were doing a picture like this or whatever, what would you do differently? Where would you sort of add detail? What would you do for this sort of mid, like valley area, all that sort of stuff?
Honestly, like this isn't always a hard and fast rule, but like I think surrounding the character with somewhat less detail or more blurred detail is usually actually good for bringing them out. So I can see where like the bushes and everything are formed is actually sort of creating like a halo around the character. Like you could also sort of combine that with the way the mountains are at the background. If the part behind the character was part that was sort of like lit, how it sort of dips in and out of shadow. If the lit part was sort of behind them a bit more, that could also help to outline them because the main is very dark, so that could bring out the colors somewhat. But as for what detail, I think just like what I would do honestly is just I'd put like little scatterings of flowers in the foreground around them, and just like little daisies, little white flowers or something like that, and just have them get smaller into the background to sort of grant that perspective and distance. And you can have them just get like softer and blurrier as they go out. And I guess like little bushes or trees or something in the background to like really again like set that scale. And at the moment, I'm sort of finding it hard to find where there's like a division between the mountains in the background and wherever the horizon below that might be. So like anything that even sort of gives us hints of that might be a good way to create that, because then it sort of gives us a better idea of what's going on around behind them, if that makes sense. Unless you had a specific reason for leaving it all like misty.
Yeah,
I'm gonna agree with Fluffy.
Sorry.
The more detail on the face actually makes a lot of sense, especially because we're sort of drawn to the face. It's the main focus here. That lovely face. The booper snoot. We're drawn to that area. I would keep that sort of detail going around like the front of the mane, and definitely outline the horn just a bit. We got to figure out a way to make it not just bleed into the sky, because your OC has a very light sky color, and that unfortunately doesn't work with you having actual sky.
Yeah, that and that was kind of intentional. Same for this area, sort of bleeding into the mountains and stuff,
Ah,
and
I
this
see.
area.
Yeah.
Yeah, mostly just like messing around with texture and hidden edges. Sorry, lost edges and all that sort of weird stuff. So that's sort of why everything's blending together around there.
I see.
I'm not quite sure how your leg is working here. This one seems bizarre to me, because it's got like the way you've done it is you have the section going here, then forward, then down, then back, but doesn't quite seem right to me because there's no front of the chest here. Your both front legs are touching each other up at the front, where they should be separated on the chest and moved back a bit. You know?
Yeah, I can agree with that.
I think if we could take one of these dark gray lines and just carry up just a little V there, we'd get the
Yeah, that
separation
was-
we're looking for. And sorry, Len, I cut you off. What were you saying?
Oh, I was just going to talk about pushing the lights and darks because I feel like even though the character is supposed to be a very light color, I would put darker shadows because it would help with like I don't know, defining stuff more. It also might be useful for like getting 3 colors for shadows or something like that because I would use the lighter shadows to make a bunch of details in the fur. Use the second darker shadow to make the general shadows all around, and the third one to make like really deep shadows that are like accentuating the like some of the spaces more. I don't really know how to explain it.
I agree with whoever's did the sort of red example on the top right.
That's
So I was
me.
going to say the leg feels very much like it's. I can see that there's overlap on the inner hoof, but I feel like it's very. It looks like it's coming out of the side, which maybe is the point. Though I just feel like like imagining being a pony, like moving your leg outwards in that way, would feel somewhat uncomfortable, and also probably like unless they're like literally about to turn, there wouldn't really be much function to twisting your leg out to the side, and if they were turning, I feel like there would be a lot more sort of in the general body movement. So I think if they're just sort of standing there and looking cute with the hoof up, I think that what that sort of red line does is a good example of that.
All makes a lot of sense.
I mostly did like more shadows, but you said you're playing with the fact that they were bleeding together, so I'm not sure if that's what you were going for.
I
Still
could
might be good
definitely
to have
see.
an example of the contrary to have more control
The-
over the purpose. Yeah.
I can definitely see adding some more of these ones. That makes sense. It's good to see them laid
Should
out a
make
little bit more.
I don't have a watercolor brush in here, so I can't blend things. But
Not that, and this is not saying that there's anything like
Yeah.
obviously this is the choices that you've made are like perfectly fine. It's creative expression and experimentation. That's all well and good. I just am curious to know what sort of ideas sort of led you to wanting to try these sort of like blending and bleeding things you were talking about.
I think just exploring digital brushwork in general, because
Okay.
most of my stuff is like, if you've ever seen my stuff, it's all like
Yeah.
burr, 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 burr,
Yeah.
burr.
Most people when they do digital painting and stuff sort of have a focus on trying to accentuate edges and separations and bringing things out and stuff. So it's interesting to see sort of experimentation specifically and like counter to that. So
Does it feel
you
more
just
like
wanted to try something different. I see. It's perfectly fine.
It
I
feels
think it
very
gives you a very
impressionistic to
full-
me.
oh. We're all just talking.
Sorry, CPC.
Sorry. I don't even know if I'm talking because my internet has been bad the whole day, so I don't know
No,
if
I
I
feel
just
like we're
have
just interrupting you.
a delay. I was going to say that it feels kind of like a traditional painting, or you'd be painting wet on wet.
Mhm.
I
Yeah,
think what you could think of is then like making a new layer on top is kind of like you let the paint dry, and now you're gonna add
Yeah.
all those like edges so the body doesn't bleed together. That's what I think of when I'm trying to do
Mhm.
something digital that is kind of traditional type thing.
I'm super interested in trying that. Like, by the way, just like painting on one layer, just like building everything up really roughly, like you were with the sketch. But then like just making one new layer at a time, painting stuff on, merging it down, making another new layer, and just continue doing that. And only ever just make a layer as you're adding new paint, and then just merge it down. Like
It would,
I kind of
that's
want to
kind of
try
the
that as a technique.
process. That's
would
kind of the
this
process I went with for this, and it was
Usually I
definitely a
keep things
change.
separate, but then that like encourages me to like go back and be like, oh, which layer is this piece of highlight on? Like, let me move everything around and control everything. But merging it sort of creates permanency, and it's interesting.
what it reminds me is like so how I do acrylics. I haven't done a bunch very recently. I just did a really simple one just recently, but when I'm doing something shaded, I'll do like a watercolor base. And that's what this reminds me. And then on top, I make the acrylics because then I can paint light too instead of just painting shadow. Which this is all traditional instead of digital, but
Cool. I think that's mostly good.
I just want to say it does really feel like a really nice impressionist, sorry, painting. So I think the bleeding works here.
yeah.
The only thing I would add, hold on, I just closed the tab. No.
I know.
The only thing I would think about changing up is just the layout of your background in general. Right now everything's very kind of like horizontal line, horizontal
Hmm.
line. Maybe think about doing something with the mountains. You could really play with what's the big eraser just undo.
I'd be drawing, but I don't know where my pen has gone.
You don't even need to make like a valley or just something that kind of adds jiggy jaggies. We can scoot all around something. 'Cause I feel like you can still get that like bleed with the mane, but also your mane is such a good prop for bouncing off the sky itself. So even to cut in a little bit, like I almost want like the mountains to come here and down here or whatever the cutoff is. And then you have this nice silhouette against the sky, this whole area with the pony, and then you can have it more bleed into the background over here. That would just be my 2 cents on how to, like, and then plus it feeds in with the curve of, like, the pony itself, like, you kinda have this swoop and your eye wants to, like, come back to the eyes, which are very powerful, so it's, like, this kinda, like, dance
Mm.
of, like, that.
With composition, I always try to have at least 2 points of interest. Like one strong one, like the face is a really strong point of interest, but also have like the mountains that are kind of like, oh, look at that cute mountain, like not just a plain background for it to be a little bit more entertaining to the eye that doesn't want to just look at the pony and like look at what's around her or him. I don't know. Sorry.
Oh, good.
It's really good stuff, though. I can tell you had a lot of fun. It was really fun watching the speed paint for this. It's a different challenge, and there's a lot of experimenting. And it's very fun. It's a very fun way of creating something.
Hmm.
I
Yeah, it's
really like
definitely lots of weird stuff to experiment with and all that.
it. Oh yeah. It's so hard to pick a brush too. It's like there's so many options for like simulating
Galaxy brush.
texture.
It's Galaxy brush for everything.
Oh
Galaxy
god.
brush.
Yeah, I definitely stole a lot from OJ or Pichu's brushes. He chucked me a bunch, and there's some good
Nice.
ones. Yeah. Cool, I think that's mostly it. I think I have stuff to work on for the next picture.
Is really good stuff though, honestly. I just love it. I love the texture you have with the mane and the way you have it shaded. So nice. It feels like a oil paint almost.
Uh,
Splodged.
I was a big fan of the sort of highlight areas, how those turned
Yeah.
out.
Yeah, I really like
Oh, they
those.
turned out great.
Because I think they started life as like a glow layer or something like that, and then I merged it down and just color picked that color and started painting it with that a little bit.
Ooh.
So that was fun.
Yay, art.
Yeah.
Yay.
Okay.
I'm
Shall
trying
we?
to join the Aggie on my new tablet and see if I can draw in there. But given how much tech problems DPC has had in the past, I am not really holding out too much hope.
What's happening? What did I do?
No, I was saying I'm trying to join on my tablet to see if it's possible to draw on here. But given how many tech problems you've had before, I'm not really sure. I'm not really holding out hope that's going to work perfectly fine.
On my iPad?
Yeah, or
Well,
there's
normally
there's so many instances where it's like, no, I can't get this to work on my tablet.
normally the problem is the streaming, the getting from the iPad to
Okay.
go to my laptop to be on OBS.
Yeah, I know it's more difficult in the streaming than in the Aggies, but who knows how the pressure will
Oh
work
yeah,
and
the
everything.
Aggies. I gave up on Aggie on there. Just not powerful enough, I think.
I can draw.
All right. Slip. I see you hopped into our voice chat. That's awesome. If you want, you can unmute yourself while we talk about your picture. Is the blue horse down at the bottom.
Disclaimer, I'm a very, very new artist, so things that are probably obviously mistakes are not to me. So just so you
That's
know.
fine.
Oh, good.
That's all right. We see all sorts of skill levels. We're here to educate.
Yeah, the point of the stream is honestly like more to have these discussions and sort of bring everyone into the same club. Not so much to lecture you on what you should and shouldn't know.
Oh no, I mean I'm a writer first, so I'm very used to criticism and constructive feedback conversation. So this isn't new, but drawing is.
I see.
Cool. So, do you have any questions in particular on your picture?
Ah, on the scale of 1 to how is it?
It's honestly. How long have you been drawing?
2-3 weeks.
Oh, this is
Damn.
really good.
Yeah.
That is insane for 2 to 3 weeks. Come on, you're lying.
And I've only been working with Krita for about a week, so
All right.
Double
God,
damn.
that's
I
really
started digital on my phone, and they're like, you
So
need
what
to
you're
work with bigger
saying is you're an
canvases.
art prodigy that needs to be stopped before you take over the art world.
Oh no.
No, don't stop.
I'm only kidding.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I guess my biggest struggle with this piece was the hair, the ears, and then just I should probably utilize tools I have, but the eyeballs, the irises,
Mhm.
and the pupils are all kind of all over the place.
The pupils I think are I think the problem is that they're really grey and sort of makes them, unless the character's supposed to be blind or something, it makes them look like they're not normal pupils. There we go.
Oh,
There's some
okay.
pupils. What I did with my
I'm
little sketchings here was just to quickly run through what I've doodled, was I added sort of more volume to the hair, because volume is something we talk about to like really make it feel like it's a big sort of set of hair on them rather than being like a little shape. And it's just something that you've got to sort of build up the confidence with over time, I imagine.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, hair is
And
hard.
I pushed out the back thigh a little bit over here. Now I need to undo that. Okay, and just sort of push the tail a little bit further behind it, and I punched out the cheeks a little bit and pushed the ears down behind them. So hopefully that helps you figure out if not, if this isn't exactly what you want from your picture, that's totally fine. You don't need to do things exactly how we tell you. It's just sort of hoping to give you ideas.
No, I was struggling. Like the person that was helping me through it kept saying, "Give your hair more volume," and I had no clue how to do that.
Yeah, it's not as easy to sort of get a grip on at first, but it's something that comes with over time as you just get more comfortable. A technique that might actually help if there's something that you just can't quite figure out. Something we've talked about before, which could be an interesting exercise, if you want to try it out at any point, is exaggeration, and that's like, I'm really struggling to get like the proportions of the body right. Try just like shooting them completely in the opposite direction to the point where it looks completely ridiculous, and then you can draw it back. So like maybe try drawing a character with just like ridiculous hair going like all over the place, like they've just had like the super main potion from that episode, and the head barely fits in it, and then you know where to go to an extreme, and it's easier to draw backwards to a comfortable place, I think. But just as of an exercise idea.
Mm.
Oh, that's a good idea.
That's good, and also just look at what other artists have done and then steal it, because it's other artists have done a lot of hard work, and you can quite happily just steal that hard work and
Ride the
and-
wave.
Oh no!
No.
I would never.
This is 100%
Bad influence.
accurate. Do it. No, just
Do it.
No, we're not telling you to trace someone's artwork and take it. We're saying copying from other people's art is an excellent way of learning, and it's honestly how almost all people learn,
Mm-hmm.
to be honest.
You copy to learn, and then you steal to create.
So, like I said, I'm super new to art, and I've been messing with like, oh, what's my style? What speaks to me? And
Yes, yeah, that's kind of how you develop a style. Honestly, is firstly
I've
like
done
taking bits
so
and
many,
pieces.
and I had so many people tell me like, do you know what MLP is? Because your style looks a lot like MLP, and that's so I was like, oh, and I investigated. I'm like, holy crap, they're right. So it did come easier than I thought it would, but proportions and just everything
Mm.
has been a bit of a struggle.
Oh,
Yeah.
absolutely. I remember when I was just like, it was at a time in my life when I was trying to be more organized, and a lot more organized than I am now, and had like a daily like list of tasks that I set for myself. And then like one night I went to bed setting like the tasks for the next day, and I was like, I should learn to draw that MLP style because it looks really simple, and I'm already an artist. It should be totally fine, and then like I'll just learn it in a day, right? And like I tried it the next day, and I was like, this is harder than I thought it would be. And I've been developing that for the last couple of years.
Yes.
I
I'm just
understand it takes time to get the
curious.
proportions.
I'm just curious with this front hoof that's sort of raised up. Is the sort of bottom of the hoof at the top or at the bottom?
The bottom.
Bottom.
I
Okay.
see where that confusion comes in. Oh wow, I didn't look at it. Okay, and now my head's going, oh, where is it? I see. Okay,
No,
could be
all
pointing to
good.
herself. Oh no.
It's hard to do sort of the overlapping stuff and then add the like little tiny bits that sort of make it obvious which way it's meant to be overlapping and all that. But that'll just come with time, so don't stress too much about it.
If you guys ever
No
feel
stress.
discouraged, by the way, I learned how to do my style in a couple weeks, so this is always good.
No, I by no means feel discouraged. This is just fueling the fire to do some more.
Nice.
Yeah, a lot of this stuff, it's definitely a time and practice stuff. So the more you draw, the better and easier it's going to get, especially when you draw in combination with tutorials, references, guides, all that stuff. Don't be ever afraid to get, a guide or a reference or a tutorial if there's something that's confusing, or like if you're learning anatomy, it's better to have an example in front of you rather than try to pull it from memory. Because I know some people are like, well, I'm learning anatomy, I want to draw without a reference, and it's like,
Oh, no. You should see
Yeah.
how many layers on Krita this little guy was. He's like 27 layers alone. Just me trying to get proportions and like I'll like something, so I'll put a layer on top of it and redo it just in case I don't like it. Like so this guy was like 27 layers, but
I
and then
might even
shading is another problem I have, which I'm shading and highlighting. I did very minimal because I'm not very good at it, but um I couldn't decide if there was a light source and where the light source was coming from and then how it hit the body and whatnot. So I know shading's probably a big you fucked up there. Or sorry, this is like a G-rated stream. You didn't do
Yeah.
very well there. Oh no.
You're
Oh
okay.
my god. Yeah, you can always mess with shading more later. It's
Yeah.
like if your goal is specifically to practice shading, then looking at
No,
the
it's to
basic
replicate the
shapes.
style, I guess, add a little bit of my own flair. But I was looking at the show and like they
Mm.
don't shade their ponies on the show, so why should I?
Yeah, you don't need to, but it's only it's kind of thing that you can do if you choose to. That's the thing about having a style. It's all about choices. There are definitely like ways to get the anatomy right, and there are sort of things to avoid that can just help your art in general. But then there are also things that are just totally up for choice and different ways of interpreting the rules. If that makes sense.
Philosophy with the
Hmm.
MLPDS. Yeah. Yeah, just keep drawing, keep tracking stuff at us. Looks good.
Hmm.
I like it.
What is this?
Steal
Okay.
more from other artists.
Wait, what is
Oh,
what?
this was stolen directly from
References are good.
episode 1, actually. What?
Yeah, that's good. Because
Paperweight
that's
wasn't
how you
great.
learn. Yeah. So just grab references, draw references. All
All
good.
the references.
All of
All the
them. Wahaha.
references.
And also just like sometimes it's helpful to like be quick and messy and like don't worry about perfecting it. Just get it
Yeah,
down.
there are years of art advice. Oh no, my character's become a puppet. There's years of art advice in the stream we could impart to you, but it'd probably be way too much all at once.
Proof.
If your goal is to learn things on what Ali just said, if your goal is to learn things and say you've got half an hour to do art, you're gonna learn more by doing 3 10-minute sketches than if you do one half an hour sketch. Just limited time, try stuff out.
And they don't have
Just
to
be
be
quick.
good. They don't have to be
Yeah.
perfect. They don't have to be anything resembling a pony. It's the attempts that build on each other.
Yeah, when
Like
when,
of
when I do quick sketches, they tend to not look like much of anything.
Okay.
It takes a lot of time to like very quickly draw things up that sort of make sense and all that sort of thing. So don't stress if they look bad or awful or nowhere near what you expect them to look like, because that'll just come with time.
mm-hmm.
Oh, well, thank you.
Oh, good.
And like we said at the beginning, this is honestly really great stuff.
Oh, yeah, I guess. I mean, I was happy with it. I guess normally if I'm not happy with it, I won't post it. But this one, I was like, yeah, I'm open to feedback because I think it's cute and I like it and I want to see what they say. So
Heck yeah.
All
Well,
right, so you're welcome to
it
come
is
back.
a cutie patootie, that's for sure.
Heck yeah, drawing and learning and stuff.
oh, one last, I guess, question for
Mm.
how you guys interpreted it. I was going for the whole his little horn was growing in, which is like why he was supposedly looking up at his because the first thing someone told me was his horn is too small, and I'm like, well, that's because it's growing in. It's a little stump. Was that impression? Was that impression like there, or does it just
I
look
saw
like
it.
he's a midget?
Now that you say it, I see it, but
Yeah,
it
wasn't
wasn't
hard.
totally
It's a
clear.
bit hard to sort of understand the differences between like what is representing the character's like height and age versus what is like a stylistic thing. Like wasn't super obvious. So, but that's a difficult thing to do to have a style and also like still represent the things that people are used to in a different style.
I think you sort of, for me, you sort of conveyed that as best you could, but it's a really difficult thing to convey because
Right,
I
I was
don't.
like,
That's
how
what I
are
was gonna
they
say.
like up? And I tried so many different pupil glares, and I just settled with stars because he was like starstruck by his own horn. But like, I just,
Oh,
I
that's what
was
the
like,
text meant. Okay.
I
It
went
can
when he's supposed to be looking up at his horn, like, oh my god, it's there.
yeah,
Okay.
with the sort of eyes as they are, the pupils are a little bit too big to sort of focus directly on that much. If you
Mhm.
sort of if you look LD, are you existing?
I'm here.
Is there any chance you could zoom in on the pony?
I can absolutely do that. I was just hanging around the rest of the horse that was hanging there. Anyway.
Yeah. So if you look specifically in I'm this red line bar. If you look specifically in like these kinds of areas, there's like a fair bit of space here, sort of thing. So like the space being here sort of indicates that the pupil is looking off to that side just a little bit. So if their like aim is to look at this horn, you probably want to like get rid of some space there.
So bring it in and upward a bit.
Yeah, it's like pupil position is always like one of the hardest things to like mess with. So don't stress too much because it'll take time to sort of get an eye for like eyes pointing where they want to point and that sort of stuff. But yeah, it's just with the pupil sort of how it is. It's almost like pointing a little bit too far to the right and not quite enough sort of in this direction.
Okay.
Yeah, but no big stress. I think. Yeah, I think that's just something you can mess with in future ones. Look at this. Look at this. Ah,
My pen is
too good.
weird.
All right. Do you have any further questions for us?
No, that's perfect. Thank you.
Just a sec.
Awesome.
Like what I drew up here on the top above the character is sort of an example of an experiment into the like looking up and like excited, my horn is growing. Just pushing the pupils up. It does. You can draw them bigger like you've done them because bigger typically means more excited. I just did them small to show them pressed up into the top. Typically, an excited eye I like to do because that's just like a creepy blank pupil with nothing. And so doing your typical highlights will just show like a standard thing. If I have a character who's excited, I like to do the normal single thing and kind of like a curved one and then like a little one in there. So it's like they're all excited and coordinate. So it's sort of like an anime approach to excited or happy or sentimental or excited or anything like that.
Yeah, the way I think of it, if they have a big smile, they'll push their cheeks up, and
Yes,
then
that's what I drew
they'll
there as well.
cut into the
Oh, yeah, that makes sense.
eye.
hmm So I was trying to draw and then my pen started being weird. There we go. Yeah, I think you did a good job of capturing that excitement. So hopefully this advice helps.
All right, thank you. I gotta head to dinner, but thank you so much.
Okay, have
for
fun.
stopping in.
Enjoy your night.
Have a good
Yeah, I'll
dinner.
be around. Thank you.
All right. Let's move to our topmost picture.
Woo woo.
I need to move my normal keyboard because so many times I keep mistaking it for the keyboard that's actually connected to my tablet.
All right. Our topmost horse here is by Rboy69. God, that's such a memey name. Just meme lord.
Me names. The backbone of MLPDS. Thank you very much.
Also, just the internet, really.
They are.
So the title is He Do a Sit, Still Haven't Found a Reason to Explain His Eyes. No questions in particular. So let's quickly spend 5 minutes here coming up with good reasons for the eyes for them.
Demon.
Demon.
Changeling that doesn't quite know how to change.
Ooh, good answer.
I like
good
that
answer.
actually.
Yeah. Definitely doing the butt scoot when they gotta clean their butt.
Here's a
Like,
different
is
example
this
of
how
how to show
ponies
that code.
act? I think so.
It's how dogs
I
act,
can
but
only
they're doing
assume.
something bad when they're doing that.
Oh goodness gracious!
Halloween. So they have corrective contacts that are the black guys because they had a Halloween changeling costume, but they lost their contacts, so these are the only ones left.
Or they dropped like eye coloring stuff in their eyes and they don't know how
They were
to take
making
it
a
out.
cake and just splashed the food coloring
Oh
into their
no!
eyes.
Do you bake a black cake?
I don't see why not.
Squid ink.
Squid egg.
You wrestling a
Halloween!
squid?
Wrestling a
Sport.
squid and the squid won.
Yeah. Okay. So there's your ideas behind this one. Feel free to
You can
write.
make like 100 OCs out of this.
Totally.
There's
A
also
whole-
my favorite. I have my most favorite reason because I wanted to.
There you go. You're not my mom. You
Sometimes-
can't tell me what to do.
Sometimes it doesn't need to be complicated. It's like I just wanted to.
I mean, I was honestly thinking that as well. I was like, well, it's just a fun thing. It's cool.
So what else? Onto the other parts of the
Is
art.
this a quizzical
What
expression, or have I misread this? Looks like they're quizzical.
they just kind of look like they're vibing. Just kind of like
Okay.
sort. I get like a slight head tilt.
Yeah. Well,
I think
the
it's the weight
body
of
was
the
the
hat.
main thing that I was drawing at the side anyway. If you want them more sort of on the ground, but still with the hooves lifted up, that's kind of what I've drawn. Because at the moment they're like deliberately like lifting their butt up with their front hooves. It doesn't quite sit on the right plane. That makes sense. Yeah.
I would definitely take the tail and just based on where the hooves are, the front hooves that are on the ground, the tail's like sunk under the ground. So I'm just gonna I would take the tail, raise it up to the level, do a bit of overlap, because overlap makes things go. Mm. So that's my 2 cents there.
We have collabed on the head to do a bit of a red line on it.
I like all the
Fast
squishy
collab.
faces you guys have made. They're like levels between chewing bubble gum and just moments after a boop.
Wings are hard.
Truth.
Dirt pony. No hair,
That's
no
good enough.
wings, no horn. I have the ultimate OC. I don't know what. Y'all just missing out.
Crazy zombie penny. Okay. I think that's mostly good. So with the ears, let me switch over to color, which shows me. With the ears, I've just sort of made them point a little bit more explicitly. With the ears, you've got this sort of boop kind of shape. It's a little bit difficult to sort of put emotion into them. I kind of guess because there's like not much direction to them and that sort of stuff. So if you saw what I started out with were, let's have a little face, the circle, boom,
They just have a really, really big body. It's cool.
yeah. Well, what I started out with was like these like little stalks kind of things, and for me, I find that those as sort of the first step of my ears really helps because I can like very obviously, these ears are pointed up and they're all alert, or I can have them like pointed down.
It's like bunny
or
ears.
I can have one like that and one like that. It just lets me plan out the kind of emotion that I want to put into those ears, and like see very obviously how it will like affect the pose, kind of. So I tend to start out with those sorts of things and then sort of build my ear shape on that, and you can do whatever you want to. With the muzzle, nothing crazy. Just
down in the bottom.
yeah, with the muzzle, nothing crazy. Just like refining shapes, I guess. A little bit more of like a up tone here, and like position the nostrils there and there. Same thing with the cheeks. Just refining. At the top of these front hooves around the shoulder, you can have a little bit of like a outward thing, because like where these hooves connect to the body, there's going to be like this big muscle kind of basically shoulder muscle sort of thing here, and when it gets to that shoulder muscle, it's going to like be a little bit of like a little budge outwards. And at kind of the base of the hooves, I also have it like sort of going this way, just to sort of, because I assume that these hooves are sort of being like pushing mostly forwards. So that's kind of what I've done there. Reinforce that sort of shape with the bottom of the hooves. And yeah, I think it looks good. And I believe Fluffy's I did the hair and pushed all the shapes and made it look really puffy and exciting.
Oh, the hair. No, that's mine.
Oh, good hair and good horse.
Thanks.
All right, shall we move on to our next horse?
Bad horse, bad horse, bad horse. He's bad.
All right, our last one submitted is by the idiot on YouTube. First horse I've drawn in over half a year. Anatomy help, please. Sorry about the armor. Okay. And they have no questions in particular. So
Heck
first
yeah,
question:
horse and armor.
the proportions you've chosen don't seem to be standard MLP in many senses. Wondering what sort of references you've pulled from, what sort of styles you're going for. When you're diverging this much from the norm, it can help, especially for the critiquers, to sort of if you show a few other images where you're like, this is the sort of bodies I'm looking for, this is the armor styling I'm going for, here's my references, here's my sources, sort of deal.
Mm-hmm. Like that's sort of the case with lens art as well, because it's like very,
Yeah.
it's a very unique, specific type of thing with specific sources, and it's very helpful to know where that origin lies.
That armor is pretty armory. It's a lot of metal.
I wonder what its armor bonus is.
It looks like full plate, so probably only bringing it to 18.
You get less max dex bonus though.
No, you lose it because it's full plate. you get what? You're down to a +1 dex most.
Oh, they're in the Discord. I mean
Whoa!
the Picarto. The Picarto, not the Discord, my bad.
Oh,
I used a few references of a Dark Souls boss by the name of Knight Atrocis. I am going to be honest, I haven't played Dark Souls because I don't hate myself that much. Let's look at him.
Can you check a reference in the voice chat?
I absolutely can. Let me find a non-murdering other people picture. There we go.
Thank you.
Okay, well that's like a fan fiction picture. That doesn't apply. To Bing. Just using Bing now.
I
Struggles.
can recommend Bing is good.
It's just better for image searches.
Yes.
I never really felt a difference. I tried it recently a couple times, but
It's
seems about the
mostly
same.
when you actually click on the picture, because Google keeps it small and Bing makes it big, and I'm like, yeah, I want it
Okay.
big.
And you can also
See,
click on it and just link
always
it.
I always just like open the picture and save it and to my references, and then either put it on the canvas or like open it as an image viewer thing and put it somewhere on my screen. So I guess there's a lot of work to go to though. Oh, what game is this?
That's Dark Souls.
Dark Souls.
Oh, okay.
So that guy's going to murder you 100 times before you figure out that you have to roll to the left.
Oh, I see. Okay, that makes sense.
I'm not skilled enough for that.
I never really played Dark Souls either.
I think that something that can always help is just focusing on the big picture. Like when you're looking for this kind of like advice, like anatomy help, please, and all that sort of thing. I think it's probably mostly like dissatisfaction in the core shapes that you're using. So, for example, whenever I like draw ponies from the side, the stuff that I tend to like focus on are this kind of like wing shape sort of
Mhm.
thing for like the main
The
body.
cheese wedge.
Yeah, and then this sort of thigh shape ish kind of thing. And then I have, the curved cylinders and all that sort of fun stuff. But just messing around a bit with looking at like real horses and doing a little bit of life drawing or reference drawing based on those would probably help you the most, considering the sort of style you're going for with this. Real horses are good. I do like this shape here though. The sort of neck thing conveys it
I
really
just
nicely.
realized I haven't drawn ponies in so long. I'm having like a really hard time with this like sketch outside.
I reckon it's good. It's expressive. Expressive and movement and all that.
Movement is my thing, and I don't know how I do it.
If I had to redesign the ears, I'd sort of make them this kind of a bit of a shapy. Actually, I don't know if those ears or that's. No, that's armor. Okay, my bad. I think.
Is that a plate of armor or is that the ears?
I think it's armor, kind of thing.
Well, they're in the chat. Maybe they'll have some
Oh,
insight.
yeah, they are.
Armor.
You're correct.
Okay.
They are in the chat. Yeah. Cool. I think in that case, some kind of like an indication of like the ears, either because I think the ears are probably either going to be like down like that, or if they're in like a fighting sort of stance, they're going to be like up. So either just like some tiny little bit here or some tiny little bit here. That's just like, yes, the ears exist. Would probably help reduce any sort of confusion there. Nah, no stress. No stress. So if you're looking for just like general anatomy sort of stuff, just look at real horses, because real horses you can find lots of pictures of them, especially on the Line of Action site. Has this really good animal drawing page where you can basically select what types of animals you want. You can select equines, you can select, all right, show me each picture for 1 minute or 5 minutes or whatever, and then you just click start, try to draw the picture in the time, so 5 minutes, 1 minute, whatever. And just doing that a while will sort of help you with anatomy and also with like expressiveness in terms of poses and that sort of stuff. So that's probably what I'd recommend. But it looks good. I like it.
I think one
Hello?
last thing I'm gonna say is
Oh.
I think that a couple of the pieces of armor kind of sit weird with me. So try and imagine like if there was a lot of gravity on it, like where would it fall? Because like I feel like this angle is wrong. It would be either more downwards or it would be like bigger in the back so that it can actually like rest to be in a position. And the sectioning can probably be done a little bit less scaly. It kind of looks like scales at the legs.
All right. Do you have any further questions for us?
Yeah, armor's hard.
Oh, very
It
much
might be
so.
there might be some like even just looking at like medieval horse armor and that sort of stuff. There might be some like things to steal from there. I think I've seen some like full armored horses kinds of things. And you can always steal from like game concept art or whatever, because I'm sure there's a lot of artists out there who've done a lot of work already, and so if you can look at those and think, "Mad, I'll steal them," then cool.
All right. Does anyone else have any other art they'd like critiqued? Any other questions they'd like to ask?
Any other cookies they'd like to share?
Bird, bird, bird.
Bird. The birds are loud this morning because it's been raining.
Gotta get that worm.
Yep. Gotta harass them people.
All right. Well, that sounds like a no. So I believe with that, we'll call it a day. So thank you all for coming, and we'll see you again next week. Goodbye.
Wow.
Goodbye.
Bye.